Welcome to today's Explainer. Today is May 10th, 2026, and we are looking at a truly unprecedented snapshot of our world. The globe is undergoing these massive, simultaneous shifts right now, from high-stakes diplomacy and rapidly changing front lines to major policy adjustments and sudden global health alerts. It's a lot to process, so let's break down these complex global dispatches together and uncover exactly how our world is transitioning. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our agenda. We're going to start with superpower summits and Gulf tensions, move on to shifting front lines and new governments, look at global policy and health alerts, and wrap up with the road to 2026.
Section 1, Superpower Summits and Gulf Tensions, Navigating Diplomatic Paradoxes.
So, let's start in the Middle East. Iran has officially responded to a U.S. proposal that was aimed at ending the 2-month-old West Asia war. They sent this communication through Pakistan, who is acting as a mediator here, and the core focus? It's a complete cessation of hostilities. I mean, on paper, this sounds like a massive step toward de-escalation, right? Well, hold that thought, and this brilliantly illustrates the diplomatic paradox we're dealing with. At the exact same moment we're seeing this diplomatic push for peace, a bulk carrier caught fire off the coast of Qatar, hit by some unknown projectile. Meanwhile, drones are actively targeting vessels in the Persian Gulf. To top it all off, Tehran just issued a direct warning to the U.S., literally stating that their period of strategic patience has ended. So you've got this offer of peace layered right over a sharp escalation in violence. And these tensions, they aren't just happening in a vacuum. They are feeding directly into some historic superpower meetings. Donald Trump actually arrives in Beijing this Wednesday. This is huge. It's the first U.S. presidential visit to China in nearly a decade, and he's sitting down with Xi Jinping. The stakes here are absolutely immense. Obviously, Taiwan and trade are massive priorities, but you can bet the Iran conflict is a central agenda item. That paradox in the Gulf, that's going to be a critical point of negotiation. Moving on to Section 2. Shifting front lines and new governments, conflicts seeking resolution. Now, over in Russia, President Vladimir Putin just made a completely unexpected public statement today. He actually suggested that the war in Ukraine is, quote, coming to an end. That is a sudden, major rhetorical shift in a conflict that has literally reshaped global geopolitics. And the thing is, it isn't just vague rhetoric. Putin explicitly expressed a willingness to sit down with Ukrainian President Zelensky in a neutral third country. Their stated goal? Hammering out a long-term peace deal. Shifting from active heavy military offensives to proposing a neutral ground peace summit, wow, that is a massive development. It's the kind of move that could entirely redefine Eastern European borders as we know them. Meanwhile, we're seeing another major shift towards stability back over in the Middle East. Syria just announced its first real government reshuffle since the ouster of Bashar al-Assad. These new appointments represent a completely new era for the country. It's a clear signal that they're trying to transition from a fractured state into a unified, stable governing body that can actually integrate with the rest of the region. However, these huge global efforts toward peace, they are sharply contrasted by some really brutal realities on the ground elsewhere. In the Northeastern Democratic Republic of Congo, a rebel attack just killed at least 69 people. This violence is being driven by shifting, highly localized alliances among militant groups. It's a grim reminder that while we're talking about global peace summits, conflict resolution is still incredibly uneven across the globe. Let's move to Section 3 and see how this all builds into global policy and health alerts, impacts on individuals. 30%. Just let that number sink in. That is the massive minimum wage hike currently being proposed for a very specific sector of the U.S. workforce. So the U.S. administration has proposed this 30% increase specifically for the H-1B visa program. The stated intent behind this move is to prevent foreign workers from undercutting the salaries of American nationals. Regardless of where you stand on it, it represents a really significant attempt to manage the domestic labor market and protect wages directly through immigration policy. Now, shifting gears from economic policy to a sudden health scare, we have a very alarming situation developing today. A cruise ship has been hit by a deadly Hantavirus outbreak, and it literally just arrived in Tenerife, in the Canary Islands. If you aren't familiar, Hantavirus is a severe viral infection. Trying to manage something like that in the tightly enclosed environment of a cruise ship, it's an absolute logistical and medical nightmare. Because of the severity here, the World Health Organization stepped right in with a rigorous protocol. First, every single passenger and crew member has to be treated as a high-risk contact, no exceptions. Second, they are all going to be strictly monitored for 42 days. It really shows you just how fast a localized, enclosed outbreak demands intense international intervention to stop it from spreading globally. Also on the global health front today, May 10th, health organizations worldwide are officially observing World Lupus Day. The focus today is all about raising awareness for this autoimmune disease and actively advocating for better patient care and some desperately needed research funding. It's a good reminder of the ongoing daily health battles that millions of people face, completely parallel to the sudden acute emergencies that usually grab the headlines. All right, on to our final segment, Section 4, The Road to 2026, Global Culture and Sports. So, despite everything happening around the world right now, the drumbeat toward the 2026 FIFA World Cup is getting louder. Today, the global electronics giant Hisense officially kicked off its massive marketing campaign for the tournament. And here's the cool part. As the tournament gets closer, Hisense has actually been named the official VAR, or Video Assistant Referee, screen provider. So rather than just doing traditional billboard advertising, they are integrating their brand directly into the highest stakes moments on the pitch. They're literally providing the technological infrastructure that referees are going to rely on to make the tournament's most critical decisions. Wow, okay. We have covered a staggering amount of ground today. From paradoxical peace offers in the Middle East and historic superpower summits, to sudden shifts in European front lines and localized health emergencies. Looking at all these moving pieces sort of leaves us with one giant pressing thought. With superpowers constantly shifting their stances and new crises emerging almost daily, who is actually steering the global future? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and I'll see you next time.